Hello and welcome to the Infectious Group Podcast, part of the Odd Pods Media Network. Recorded at the 33 1/3 Music Appreciation Center in Speakeasy, located just outside of Detroit, Michigan. The Infectious Group Podcast is your source for jammy jams, music news, and the best in-depth music discussion. Thanks for joining us. Now here are your hosts.
Hello there and welcome. It is Russ, Kyle, and Michelle, who I was just told I have to use her name when I address her. So throughout the whole episode, I will be using your name just to make sure that you're paying attention.
Michelle!
Yeah, I'm going to throw the whole thing in. We are very excited about having our follow-up to our first part of our 1984 discussion, and we are quite excited about that because this is a overall follow-up and a listener request to our 1991 coverage. Many people say 84 is as good or better of a year in music, and I personally have not been able to decide on that yet, which one is better. And we were actually asked if we would eventually do an episode of 91 versus 84 and kind of make our rulings on that. So at some point, I'm going to have to make a decision on this. But for now, I'm putting it off.
When do you think you're going to decide?
Probably 13 seconds before I say it on the show. The week that we're going to do that topic, 81 or 84 versus 91, I will probably change my vote like 17 times.
You need a pros and cons list.
I think that's what we're going to do.
They're just different.
Yeah.
But so I don't know if you could choose one over the other.
Well, let's do that episode when we get there instead of litigating it right now.
I think 84.
Okay, let's do that episode in the future. So, we are going to discuss the whole second half of 1984 in the second half of this episode. As we always do, we're going to share feedback. We are recording this episode much earlier than we usually do. So, if you have feedback from our first half of our 1984 coverage, you are not going to hear it in our feedback section here, but you will hear it in the follow-up episode to this. So, if you send in feedback through our voicemail or any of our social media, don't worry about not hearing that feedback right now.
Hey, Russ, what's our voicemail?
Definitely going to hear it in the future. Thanks, Michelle. People can leave us a voicemail at 313-364-9899, but you won't hear your messages this week. Let's get into it.
Feedback, Joe.
Don't worry about that. Right. There's rock and roll be without feedback.
Getting a lot of feedback on our Kanye West focused episode, which I should have asked Michelle what we talked about 2 weeks ago. That would have been fun.
Shit.
Nick Fowler writes in and says, great review of the masterpiece that is My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy. See, I'm reading his version so I don't screw the name of the album up. I hadn't listened to it in a couple of years and I had to stop in the middle of your episode just to spin it. By the way, Kyle, the vinyl version is a triple LP and it's not too hard to find anymore. There are over 70 copies available on Discogs. I actually picked mine up a few years ago when Walmart had their $15 vinyl sale. How about that?
Damn.
I know.
Why is it 3 LPs?
On account of the length of the record. Remember how it was over an hour long and you complained about that during the episode?
No.
Okay. Nick goes on to say, overall, I personally give the record an 8 out of 10, which, yeah, I think is right in where we all fell, except me and my low number. The other day, I sent out a tweet about those 44 days in 1991 where, like, so many amazing records came out all at once. And we had a user on Twitter named RoboPulp said, have you guys ever looked into music history to see if ever such a thing ever happened before or since? It was a staggering amount of awesomeness to come out all at once, and it shaped and helped influence the culture for the next few years. As a matter of fact, we did. And we're doing episodes on it right now.
What?
Which is crazy. And feedback regarding the Lumineers' latest record that you guys have talked about a little bit, and then I finally purchased. We had someone say to us, Cleopatra from Lumineers was everywhere, and I kind of got burnt out on them because that came out. So I'm hoping their sound has evolved since then. So yeah,
Listen to 3.
Yeah, I think you guys' review overall of the new album was it's more Lumineers.
Yes.
Yeah, which I like, but if you want it to be different, it's not.
Well, if you want something different, it still sounds it sounds like the Lumineers, but it's a concept album, which is 3.
I didn't know that you purchased it.
Yeah, you can hear about it on the Infectious Group podcast when I was telling my co-hosts about how I purchased the record last week.
Do you like it?
As a follow-up to what I
Oh my God.
already told you, I blind bought the record and have not listened to it yet. It's in with Adele. and it's going to get listened to.
Okay,
I
well, you just tell me when you listen to it.
Right.
I appreciate that.
I included a little bit of feedback from our YouTube channel this week, and I did a video on a couple of different versions of Guns N' Roses' GNR Lies because of some of the lyrical content on that record. I firmly believe it will never be reissued again in the way with all of the tracks intact. I think if they ever reissue that record, they will reissue it without the song One in a Million, because that's the one with the problem lyrics. We had a comment from somebody saying, this is a great video. I never thought about it before, but your rationale for Lies never receiving a reissue totally makes sense. I have a copy that's good, but it's warped. So it's in fairly average condition with not too bad of a warp. I would love to see a reissue, but I didn't think about it until you mentioned it. And I think a lot of people are like not realizing that, like Appetite got a reissue. Use Your Illusions is later this year is going to have a massive box set, and I'm pretty sure GNR is just going to kind of hope we all forget that Axl said some things on Lies that were bad. We had someone reach out to us directly through our website and says, I am brand new to your show. My name is Lance, and I really, really dig what you guys do. There's so many similarities between you, but your tastes are also wildly different, and everything you guys listen to touches on what I grew up in my musical upbringing. I was first introduced to music through Elvis, and I actually worked in Tupelo, Mississippi for 3 years selling Elvis product to international fans. Then I grew up and got into classic rock and have a deep appreciation for all other genres. So that's kind of cool.
Welcome, Lance.
Yeah. Hello, I'm Phil Coleman. So Sue Garcia, who again, a newer fan of the show and always writes some good, thoughtful feedback for us in reaction to the Kanye West episode. Now, Sue, I don't know if you guys remember, was the one that said that her and her husband go to all different types of concerts all the time, and they're always the oldest ones there, but they don't care. You know?
Right. Good.
She said, I love how she starts her reaction to the Kanye. Okay, I tried. But, you know, and I replied to her, well, I'll read it in a second, but I replied to her and said, it's awesome that you even tried.
Yeah.
You know, you could just look at something and be like, that's not for me, you know? So Sue says, okay, I tried. I didn't hate it, but it's not something I would seek out in the future. I'm not the target audience for this, I don't think, but I don't think Kanye would care. Looking forward to next week. 1984, dare I tell you, was the year I turned 21.
Oh, boy.
My God, I would have loved to have been 21 in 1984. Holy cow. Not just talking about the Thompson Twins, but like going to see them at like, you know, a theater or whatever.
Yeah.
'Cause
You weren't going to concerts when you were 9?
I was not allowed. I went to my first concert in 1987.
So not in 1984.
Not in 1984, no.
You ruined it.
Do you remember at all what my first concert was? Because now, again, I've spoken, this was way long ago on the Infectious Groove podcast. I talked about this. It's a band you would never want to see in concert. Oh, God. Def Leppard. Def Leppard.
Two-armed or one-armed?
And it was one arm. It was the first tour with one arm. And it was the tour with the album for Pour Some Sugar on Me. So you really, 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 really don't want anything to do with that.
So I recently, this is a sidebar, but I went shopping at a store for clothes. And
Wow.
there was an entire rack, I'm not even kidding you, from like 6 feet long. And it was on clearance, and it was all Def Leppard sweatshirts, and they were all $5. And I was like, I cannot even for $5. I'm not wearing a Def Leppard sweatshirt.
This is one of many times where you've let me down. You didn't even think to like get at me and be like, hey, do you want a Def Leppard sweatshirt for $5? Because while I don't like them, I know you do, Russ.
Well, it was from Torrid, and they are women's sweatshirts.
I don't give a shit. I'm fashion forward.
So that is on me then.
That is absolutely
I did not
on you.
think that you would appreciate that, but
I can make it a cute crop top.
no, they probably would have fit. They had all the sizes.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
So are we done with your shopping trip now?
For now.
Okay. Just you have more later.
It depends on what we talk about.
And whatever flies into your head. Dean from the UK writes us and says, I don't really consume much rap music, so I don't actually think I'd heard any of Kanye's songs off the top of my head. Collaborations I've heard for sure, 4 or 5 seconds, so on and so on, which, yeah. I believe I recall the marketing strategy he did for this record, and it made a lot of noise at that time. That might sound daft. That's how you know he's from the UK.
Yep.
That I can't think of any Kanye songs, but I really don't expose myself to being able to consume a lot of modern music, and the radio is never on in my car. Therefore, I'm I'm sure a few will sound familiar from hearing them in clubs and whatnot. Really good episode, though, and I'll have to see my thoughts on the album, how they compare to your guys's. They probably won't be as favorable, which is, again, understandable. And actually, he leaves us with a fun fact, because I went off on my diatribe about Gil Scott-Heron on the episode. He says Gil Scott-Heron's dad was the first black player to Glasgow Celtic, my team, in the early 50s. Whenever I see his name mentioned, I always have to bring that up. So I did not know that. That's interesting.
Wait, what? Say it again?
So it's sports, soccer.
I think so. As soon as you said player, my brain was. So he played football.
Yeah, football. Yes. I have a friend of mine. You've met Otto that lives in.
I have
Brazil,
met Otto,
and he showed me on his phone once a picture of a soccer ball, and he goes, "Okay, football." And I said, yeah. And then he swiped his phone and it was a picture of an NFL player and he goes, hand egg. I thought that was
awesome.
the best I've ever.
How's Otto?
Wonderful. I just spoke to him the other day, as a matter of fact.
Oh.
So shopping, now personal life updates. We're good.
Does he listen to our show?
He does, as a matter of fact.
Hi, Otto.
And unlike you, he watches our YouTube channel as well. The podcast Soundtrack of Your Life started following us this week and said they listened to our Kanye episode, and they said that they really, really love the Good Fridays rollout that went up with this classic record, which is what you were talking about.
As do I.
As well. And that was kind of my, and I don't mean to call anybody out, but a lot of podcasts will interact with each other without listening to the episode. And I was more or less like, yes, Kyle mentioned that in the episode. And that was more or less when they were like, oh, well, we'll listen to that right now. Okay. This last thing for me is super duper cool. And this just happened last night. And I have not even told either of you that this occurred yet. Last night, as I do on every Friday night, I was spinning records.
Would you call it those are your Good Fridays?
Yes, I would.
Okay.
And I was spinning the 2 LP 45 RPM Giles Martin master of In Excess Kick.
That's so many things.
It is, but it's a monumental record and a monumental producer.
Yep.
So I put it on Twitter and I tagged Giles Martin and In Excess in the tweet. And I said, and I'm going to say it all again just to be a jerk. Now spinning In Excess Kick 2 LP Giles Martin master 45 RPM. Thank you for this, Giles. And Giles Martin replied to our tweet on the Twitters, as in son of George Martin, man who has remastered and remixed an amazing amount of the Beatles' Love. He did that entire soundtrack himself. He's brought us stunningly good remixes and remasters of the Beatles. And once again is the son of George Martin, who was considered by most to be the fifth Beatle. Giles Martin says to us, which is an amazing sentence for me to read. He says, "You are most welcome. I've done a new Dolby Atmos mix of it, which should be out soon as well." And judging by the replies to his tweet, that was more or less breaking news, because no one knew that a Dolby Atmos mix of In Excess Kick was coming, or that Giles Martin was involved in it. She's trying so hard to wrap her brain around everything that was just said.
Well, my question was going to be to you, how many times do you own this record?
I have 3 copies on vinyl currently.
And then this is going to be 4?
Dolby Atmos will be a digital format. It won't be vinyl.
Is that a dumb question?
But I have owned it.
Was that a dumb question?
No, I don't think so, Kyle.
No,
Let me go to the judge, Kyle.
If you know nothing about the
audio,
Dolby Atmos,
you've heard of Dolby, like ProLogic, Dolby Surround Sound.
Yes, I thought that's
it's a surround sound format.
Only digital.
Correct.
Got it.
Correct.
I'm with you now.
Yes.
Okay, so you have to purchase it digitally.
Correct.
Got it.
But I also have owned that album on CD and cassette over the years. So what's it going to hurt to have one more format?
Yeah, there you go.
Of In Excess.
So this is probably too much for now, but do you have to have a certain setup to appreciate that?
Yes.
Okay.
Dolby Atmos has downward firing speakers as well. So the sound comes from above you, besides just in the front and in the back and the subwoofer. Now speakers come down too.
It's the audio that you're currently hearing in the theaters when you see a movie.
Yes.
So so if you really are curious, I would encourage you to look something up on like YouTube about how it works, because it's fucking amazing.
I have Dolby Atmos in my living room, and I could demo it for you, but your eyes will glaze over 10 seconds after it starts. Anyways.
I already regret asking this question. I'm just kidding.
This is like when you brought up Pink Floyd.
Yes.
All right. Anyway, so we love the feedback from everybody, and I didn't mean to throw like such a huge fit, but like Giles Martin.
That's awesome.
Though,
yeah,
that's exciting.
Like, we value Dean and Sue and everyone else just as much, but damn it, Giles Martin though.
Yeah.
So I was very, very, very excited about that. Moving right along. Our jammies. I, for some reason, got on such a Tim McGraw kick that it was almost like I would be disgusted by me if I wasn't. I was listening to so much. And really...
And that's not blowjob country.
No.
Are you sure?
Yeah. Songs like Live Like You Were Dying are not even remotely. And Don't Take the Girl, holy cow. Now that you have a daughter, you should listen to that song and just cry for the whole 3 minutes.
No.
And there's so much country you should never listen to again. I just realized
Shucks.
that. Yeah, but Tim, It's Your Love, again, the aforementioned Live Like You Were Dying, something like that, Indian Outlaw. And what I mean by Tim McGraw, this is a guess, probably has at least 12 or 13 studio records, and I just dove in like his greatest hits was the only thing that he had ever released, and listened to the same songs.
He's married to Faith Hill?
He is very much married to Faith Hill, yes. And they have a couple of ballads together that were big hits and whatnot. And then I have no excuse for this, and I said I was going to get myself off the smack, and I had a big relapse this week. If there's a phone number I can call or someone can help me with this, you probably know where this is going.
Billie?
Happier Than Ever, Billie Eilish.
Billie.
I cannot get enough of that record. I cannot get enough of that album.
On Spotify, it has like your on repeat section. And if you look at it, it's just all Billie Eilish.
I still have yet to go back to listen to When We Fall Asleep, Where Do We Go? I think it's the name of her first record. That's like the Kanye thing. I'm like, I don't know the words. And I know the words, but not the order that they go in for that title.
Close enough.
But that record, Happier Than Ever, it is so good. Every time I listen to it, I have a new favorite song.
What's your favorite song this time?
Oh my Lord, Lost Cause. Holy cow, I can't get enough of that song. The hook on that song is sick. Just sick. And then I think my overall favorite song on the record is probably still Billy Bossa Nova. But even right when it's getting older, like right when it started, the whole record.
I Didn't Change My Number is the one that gets stuck in my head. Like I will wake up and just be singing it in the shower. I don't know why. It's just that song.
I promise I'm not trying to start a thing. I'm not doing a comedy bit here. I'm being very serious. How you don't like Portishead is beyond me, because that's trip hop. I Didn't Change My Number. That is absolutely trip hop. Like I don't understand how you don't like.
Well, I think it's because Billie Eilish is good and Portishead is bad.
I feel like you're
Remember
setting
when I
yourself
was
up for
like,
that
I'm going to be
one.
nice about this? And then you were like, let me just poop on you real quick? Yeah. Some people pay for that, though. So
That's true.
Check out my OnlyFans. Just kidding.
I told you. You should start an OnlyFans. Kyle, what have you been listening to?
Quick sidebar. My favorite Tim McGraw song ever is I Need You.
Great song. That's
Goddamn.
with Faith, too, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Man.
I always think of It's Your Love first, because
Yeah.
it's that was first to the dance. Like, that's the one I heard by them first. It's like Garth and Trisha, I always think of In Another's Eyes,
Yeah.
but they've done so many others together.
And the only reason I think of that song first is because it related to the music video. And it's just, they're just sitting across from each other and there's candles everywhere and they're just singing to one another. And I'm like, oh my God, this
I'm
is
going to
like...
sidebar so bad, and I'm sorry. And you may have never seen this, but you know what ruined that video for me?
What?
There's an old SNL commercial, and if you've never seen this, you need to look it up. And it's, well, actually don't, because it's going to ruin the video for you. But it's called, it's a commercial for the Love Toilet. And it's
sorry, what?
it's like two toilets that are not back to back, but side by side. So
Yeah.
one person is facing one way in the toilet and one person's facing the other way. It's for the couple that has to do everything together. And that SNL parody commercial was probably from like 1991 or somewhere around there, 92. And as soon as I saw that Faith Hill and Tim McGraw video, I was like, Love Toilet. Like I just instantly, if you see this SNL commercial,
Yeah.
you'll be like, it's the Love Toilet.
That's funny.
I guess don't.
Yeah.
So anyways, what were you listening to, Kyle?
I've been really heavy on Kanye West lately.
That's odd.
What?
Again,
That's weird for you.
because he released On the 2.
Now, do you have to buy this weird player to hear it, or did the internet take care of us on that?
The internet took care of everyone almost immediately.
So within an hour?
Oh yeah, so within an hour, Double XL, the magazine, which is a digital magazine, I don't think they make physical copies anymore, but they decided to go ahead and just snitch on everybody,
right.
just by doing an article saying that this user on Reddit figured out the programming for the stem player and duplicated it and just downloaded all the music from...
Which, like, we knew was going to happen anyways.
Yeah, so literally within an hour, it was copied off of the stem player and then on the internet for everyone to listen to.
So now I know two things about Double XL.
Yeah.
Number one, they were referenced in the Eminem song.
Double XL.
Now they won't have so much problems
Yeah.
copies to sell. And now I know that they do not have any respect for our national no snitching policy.
You know what? Snitches get stitches.
Yeah. So
They were very It's not like they left any information out. They were like, and then in the article, it's like, if you really want to hear this, just Google it, and you'll find out how.
Where they're like, this is this guy's name and his phone number.
That happened with Chinese Democracy in 2007. 9 of the 14 songs that ended up on Chinese Democracy got leaked in like perfect sound, and the whole internet outed exactly the guy who did it. Like they were, and it wasn't like, oh, and his username is. It was like his name is, and I'm not going to say his name now because the guy's been through enough. But it was like, and his name is this. It was this side of, and you can find him on this street corner. Like,
jeez.
Yeah. And it was like, man, we're all just trying to get this music. Why would you out somebody?
Yeah,
but anyways, I will say though, I don't like the idea of having to buy a player to hear something, but I love the idea of artists releasing their music in stems.
Yes. And so the real, it has nothing to do with, he just inked this deal with the technology company that made the stem player and yada, yada, yada. But so it has nothing to do with him wanting you to be able to have the stems or whatever. It just has, he wants control over all of his music. And he doesn't want Spotify making all this money off of him and him getting the shitty end of the stick.
Yeah, I get
Which
it.
I totally agree with.
I agree with that.
People knew, was talked about when there was rumors of Don the 2 coming out, is that people knew that immediately when this happened, because it's all digital, that it was just going to get ripped off immediately.
Yep.
And so it's still unclear whether Kanye West and his camp even gave a shit that was going to happen. I'm sure they don't.
I'm sure once the ink was dry and the check was deposited,
yeah,
what happens from there, they don't care.
And he's been very open about how many stem players he's been selling, showing people the numbers, like, because people were like, yeah, no one's going to buy that shit to listen to your music. And it's very, I mean, he sold millions of units. So it's like,
So Kanye and Donda 2?
Donda 2, well, Donda 1 and Donda 2, or Donda and Donda 2. What got me on this whole ball rolling...
Hey, Donda 1.
Donda 2.
What got the whole ball rolling is because he did another listening event in Miami, and it was like this huge deal, and yada, yada, yada.
No, only because I told you this, I try so hard to just ignore the noise.
Yeah.
And everything no matter how good that event might have gone, all of whatever was going to be reported was going to be like, and then he sneezed.
Yeah.
And that was, so anything I saw, I just scrolled past. So my dismissive attitude is toward the media, not you.
Yeah. So supposedly he turned down a $100 million deal with Apple because Apple is the one that exclusively released all the listening events for his other stuff. He said, no, fuck you, I'm going to make the money off this. And the live stream was only available on stemplayer.com. But then he released the live stream on his own personal YouTube later on, which is how I watched it. But I thought it was fantastic, and I still love the idea of him doing different shit for the rollouts for albums. And
here's my thing, and I cannot stress enough, this is just like we talked about last week, all Kanye shenanigans and personal stuff aside, I'm talking about Kanye as an artist.
Yes.
There was once a guy who did things 1,000 different ways than everybody else, and they called him weird and crazy and stupid, and his name was Prince.
Yep.
And he did, from 95 to 02, did things that other artists and whole corporations didn't even attempt for like another decade after that. So I'm all for anybody trying something different.
He speaks openly in interviews about how every time someone goes against the grain, they're the crazy person, they're the asshole, they're this, they're that, and it needs to happen for music to be pushed forward.
I couldn't agree more.
If you listen to the bootleg version of the Donda 2 because somebody uploaded it to the internet, then you're still supporting Kanye.
Well, it's the same thing with Prince. That's what I'm saying. Like when 1-800-NEW-FUNK and when the Gold Experience was even trying to get its legs to get out the door, Emancipation. I know plenty of people who just passed around cassettes of Emancipation or whatever, but you're still supporting Prince in the ideals. As long as and the media did the same thing they're doing to Kanye. Again, I'm talking not whatever's going on in his personal life as an artist. That's crazy. Okay, well, with Prince, 10, 15 years later, companies started doing, they were like, oh, Jesus Christ, the guy with the symbol was right. You know? And who knows if in the future, memory and parts are so disposable. Who knows if that's how albums are going to be distributed in the future, you know?
So for audiophiles and people who like to dick around with music, like the stem player is awesome. Like I watched a bunch of videos on like how it works and like totally cool.
It's
and
amazing.
I've literally come very, very close to pulling the trigger 10 different times on just getting one to play with it and so on and so forth. And if you want to buy into all the bullshit that you keep hearing about Kanye and whatever, I suggest listening to the Donda 2 if you can, because he's having a hard time with his personal life.
And we talked about that.
And a lot of it is on Donda 2. And a lot of the songs are about him, losing his family, him not,
There you go.
Just having
Now,
a hard fucking time.
Again, you make a comparison to MJ.
Yes.
You know, like the second half of history. How
Yes.
many people have told us that they never even gave that a chance? And when they hear it, they're like, Jesus Christ, this is his whole story. I'm like, yeah, that's why it's called history. Like, it's his story, you know, so it's there.
Yep, and you can tell that this isn't material that he wrote 2 years ago. This
Right.
is stuff that's current and is happening now, and is his explanation for.
Which is amazing for the immediacy.
Beyond that, this is kind of a sidebar, but I honestly don't understand how this man gets things done the way he does, because literally 1 week before he's planning to do this listening party in Miami, he just like gets a hold of Live Nation and is like, I want to do this in Miami, and then this whole thing fucking comes to fruition in 1 week.
Well, I mean, again, with the MJ comparison,
Yes.
who else is going to put We Are the World together?
Yeah,
You know?
I don't understand how.
Who's going to be like, hey, I would like every person in music to be in the same room right now and record this song that I wrote. You know, like people don't have that power.
So within a week, he has this whole setup, the stage setup and everything was totally different from the other listening parties.
Yep.
All new. He has a whole crew come in. It's all different merch, all new this, all new that, and in 1 week.
Right. Yep.
I don't understand how it.
That's when you got
It
that
is
stroke.
amazing.
When you got that stroke. We only see artists like that every so often.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Michelle, is there any chance
she was just
that
sleeping.
you are even on the same planet with us now after all of that in-depth talk?
Are we done now with all that? God, I thought we were done with Kanye.
In as much as we're going to get
I'm
to
never
your
done with
Jammy
Kanye,
Jam.
man.
Yeah. I'm going to say this again, and I usually say this to Kyle about you. You chose this. From the day I met Kyle, I knew about his Kanye bit. So I know you knew.
There you go.
Michelle, what are your jamming jams?
I forgot what's music. So remember that one time when I was gonna go to Walmart to buy that Darius drink?
Yes, I do remember.
Well, I
that.
didn't do that, but instead I just listened to a lot of Darius.
Good to know.
So yeah, it's just been a lot.
So
of,
you didn't go to Walmart and let me know if they have the David Lee Roth record
Oh,
that
I forgot
want.
that I was. So I didn't forget you. I just forgot to go to Walmart.
And you didn't go pick me up the Def Leppard thing
Did not prick you. I was like, what Def Leppard thing?
from 5 minutes ago.
I'll go back and get you that.
So Darius Rucker.
Darius
you were
Rucker.
listening to, I assume, all the hits and stuff.
Yeah, well, I think True Believer is the one album that, like, I feel like when it came out was like, that was my jam.
Mm-hmm.
That's when I really dove into it. But yeah, you don't believe that?
Don't believe
You're like, mm-hmm.
that you. No, I'm listening to you speak about the music
I think that was
you listen
acknowledgement.
to. If you had said Darius Rucker and I was like, then that's disbelief. So anything in particular, like for me personally, I, for whatever reason, don't think about it, is always going to be my favorite Darius Rucker song.
That is my favorite Darius Rucker song.
Oh, I love that song. History in the Making, I love.
It Won't Be Like This for Long is the song that, like, I can't listen to anymore.
Did that go ahead and reinvent itself to you recently? Within, say, the last, I don't know, 8 months or so?
Shouldn't be allowed to be played ever.
Yep.
I should probably block
That's
that.
why I was telling you shouldn't listen to much country music anymore.
It's a rough one.
Yeah. Like, I'm not being funny right now. Like, I can see you getting, like, emotional even talking about it. Yeah.
And Spaghetti Hands.
And Spaghetti Hands, which
All right.
for our listeners is all right. And he does not say the phrase Spaghetti Hands in
Well,
it.
that's to be determined.
But we're
have
pretty-
we actually figured that out yet?
I would like to meet Darius Rucker just to be like, you sound like you're saying Spaghetti Hands.
Do you
right?
think that Wagon Wheel is a blowjob country song?
Which version?
Any version, just the song in general.
No.
I would like to sidebar and say I'm excited she knew it was a cover.
I don't know.
You don't usually
Old Crow
know.
Medicine Show sings it
Correct.
originally?
Do you think?
Look at me!
Do you think Darius Rucker's
Look at me!
version
No,
of that
stop!
song?
Look at me!
Yes. You.
I did it!
Stop what you're doing and acknowledge me.
Hold on.
Good golly, Miss Molly.
Just, okay, fine. What now?
Do you think his version of that song would be considered blowjob country?
No, because I don't think Darius Rucker's blowjob country. Is he?
But
Wait.
no, and also you have to remember she loved her some blowjob.
Yeah, that's true.
So,
Because it kind of sounds that way to me, but I fucking love that song.
That's a good song.
I love it.
no, yeah, I did
Yes.
too, and I like his version.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Darius Rucker has a long history of being involved in, like Hootie did some great covers
Yeah.
in the
Yeah,
90s and
yeah.
whatnot, and they used to do. I don't think they've ever released it officially, but they as a concert staple of Hootie and the Blowfish's Raspberry Beret, and they were doing like how I've mentioned before. I got real mad when Prince passed away, and all of a sudden everyone became the world's biggest Prince fan, and I was like, no, y'all were calling him crazy for the last 15 years. Hootie used to do Raspberry Beret like way before it was cool to be a Prince fan. Like they would cut into it, and other people around me at the show would be like, really? You know, and I'd
Yeah.
be like, yeah, really?
Shut up.
Like, yeah, really? This is awesome. And one day Michelle's going to remember stuff. It's going to be amazing. We are going to take a break. And when we come back, hey, guess what? We're going to get into our second half discussion of the year of 1984 and what an amazing year it was. We're going to talk about more massive album releases. We're going to talk about the hit singles, the VMAs, top 10 albums of the year, and more. You're listening to the Infectious Group podcast on the Odd Pods Media Network.
Hi, I'm Shannon.
I'm Jamie.
We're Married with Television, marriedwithtv.com. We are a couple of Hollywood normies on the outskirts of the film and TV industry, and we talk about our favorite TV shows, music, and movies, and sometimes they talk back to us.
Sometimes I do.
Our podcast is Married with Television, one word, on Stitcher, Spotify, iTunes, and SoundCloud.
Possibly Amazon soon. And we are a proud member of the Odd Pods Media Network.
Married with TV.
MarriedWithTV.com.
I'm Rob.
I'm Nick.
And I'm Joe.
I love it.
I think it's kind of meh.
And I've never seen it.
We're keeping up with the Kardashians.
A podcast covering 7 seasons of Star Trek Deep Space Nine.
But that's not it. We go down the wormhole
Of pop culture, life, and Garrick
New episodes every Monday.
on your favorite podcasting platforms. You can also interact with the show on Twitter at KardashiansPod.
And just like the Ferengi, we can't wait to stroke your lobes.
We are back. It's Russ, the Darius Rucker lover, and the Kanye specialist. Gonna take it back in time and get into the second half of 1984. And if you are here for this episode, you know all the specifics that we did this type of thing for the massive year that was 1991. And in our last episode, we went through pretty much the first half of the year and many of the huge things that happened in album releases and in pop culture. And the second half of the year, as far as album releases, I feel, and we'll go through this list, and I'm sure you guys have looked like at some of the releases. I feel like most of the massive releases happened in the first half of the year, but there still are a lot of good records to speak of in the second half of the year. So I also brought up some additional information that we can discuss, like we'll go over maybe the top 10 singles of the year and the top 10 selling records of the year, because that leads into a whole nother continuation of the discussion we were talking about earlier of staying power that people had back then that is far different than what you see now.
Yeah.
So getting into records that were released in the second half, you do come out of the gate in July with a whole lot of diversity over the month. And I've talked to you guys about this before, that I always tell people, you know, I don't want to sound like, you know, get off my lawn, but like if you want an example of how much better I feel music used to be, like in the 80s, even up till maybe the late 90s, just grab an old issue of Rolling Stone and turn to the back and look at the Billboard Top 200 records for like any week of the 80s. And it's not a matter of going, oh, well, Thriller was at the top of the charts, or, Purple Rain was. It's a matter of looking at the diversity in just like the top 10 records of any given week. And we don't have that anymore. Everything is all in big waves of pre-planned genres that are marketed all at once, instead of just going, real people like this much diversity all at once.
Right? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And if you look at July, this is what I was talking about, where I don't think you'd look at many of these releases and say they're massive. Maybe there's a metal one that you probably look at as massive, but you would look at this and just go, I can't believe all of that was brand new and everyone loved all of that at the same time. So you look at July 1st, Ronnie James Dio put out The Last in Line. Now, I'm not a big Dio fan, but Dio is a monster of metal music. This is his second solo record after he famously replaced Ozzy Osbourne in Black Sabbath, which Black Sabbath always gets left out of that discussion. People talk about how you can't ever be successful after you replace your lead singer and how Van Halen's the only people that ever did it. Black Sabbath replaced Ozzy freaking Osbourne with Ronnie James Dio and did it very successfully.
Yep.
And so The Last in Line, like, I'm not a huge Dio fan, but it's just a cornerstone of metal. Like, people that love metal, that's just a go-to record for them.
Yep.
Then on July 6th, you have New Edition's debut record comes out. Okay. Now this is huge because it's got Candy Girl, and I think If It Isn't Love might be on there. But again, this I equate to what we talked about in the first half with Bon Jovi. Nobody ran out to buy that New Edition record immediately, but how many different ways has New Edition affected music as a whole since then?
Yep.
Even if you talk about Johnny Gill, who was not an original member but would replace Bobby Brown later on, he had a massive R&B soul career on his own, right? Ralph Tresvant had his own massive solo career. Bobby Brown, obviously, huge solo artist. And then you think, oh, well, weren't there other guys? Yeah, Belle Biv DeVoe. Yeah. I think Michelle's just now learning that Belle Biv DeVoe were in New Edition.
What?
Yes. So
how many people were in New Edition?
There were 5 initially: Ralph, Bobby, and then
Belle Biv and DeVoe.
Yeah, I feel bad that I can't remember all 3 of their first names, so I'm not even going to say one because I feel like I snubbed the other 2. But yeah, so you had 5 initially, and then when Bobby Brown went solo, they replaced him with Johnny Gill, who also eventually went solo. Ralph Tresvant had his solo career, but then eventually Belle Biv DeVoe were last out of the gate, and I would argue maybe not as successful as Bobby Brown, but damn close.
Yeah, for sure.
You know, and then you look at the family tree of that they bring you Boys to Men.
Yeah,
comes out of Belle Biv DeVoe.
Well, R&B existed for a long time before 1984.
Really?
Yeah, it's weird. And so did hip hop. It existed for 10 or so years before any of this happened.
Certainly in New York City. At the
yes, and so, but 1984 was the year where people started to pay attention to stuff. And we're like, man, I like this. And with, Run DMC and stuff like that. I mean, LL Cool J launched his career in 1984.
You're damn right.
Yes. So it's like, it wasn't nothing new, but it was something that it launched the genre into like the stratosphere.
Oh, for sure.
Started the launch into the stratosphere.
Household names.
Yes.
Yeah. You went from people barely even knowing that this was brewing in New York or LA to it being like, I gauge everything. Detroit's a big music city, obviously, right? But I gauge everything for growing up an hour north of Detroit. If my very white, very old relatives were talking about these things, then it's mainstream.
Yeah.
You know? And for me, my LL Cool J record is his second record, Bigger and Deffer. That's my jam. So I wasn't even up on him when he released Radio. I think it's the first record.
Yeah,
Radio.
I think so.
But by the second record, again, my old white relatives an hour north of Detroit knew who LL Cool J was.
And so
ladies love Cool J.
The ladies do love Cool J. That's a fact.
And so going back to movies, movies like Beat Street and Breakin' are what showed people like what this was, and that like it's actually really fucking cool.
Yeah. You can't make a whole motion picture about something without a culture to base it on.
Yes, and so it kind of like broke out like what the DJ was and like what their place was in hip hop and like what and then obviously then Run DMC becomes a thing and it's like the whole.
Well, it's not Run DMC's debut record that we talked about in the first half, but on Raising Hell.
Yeah,
there's behind the scenes footage of Joe Perry and Steve Tyler learning what it means to be a DJ, like Jam Master Jay physically showing them like how he cuts the beats and stuff, and you can see like almost like a childlike wonder on Joe Perry and Steven Tyler's face of like, we never would have thought of this. Like they're learning it, and that's awesome. You know, and then Aerosmith put their name on it and brought it to, a huge audience that never would have heard of them. Going forward, Michael Jackson did the rest of his brothers a giant favor and appeared on the Jacksons album Victory, which is probably my personal least favorite Michael Jackson. It's a very throwaway record. Michael literally stopped by the studio and was like, I'm doing you a favor.
Let me help you.
Famously, actually, the most famous thing on that record, I think, is Michael Jackson and Mick Jagger do a song together called State of Shock, and Freddie Mercury was originally supposed to be the other vocal on that. So Mick Jagger is actually the backup to Freddie Mercury. The one that got released is with Mick Jagger on it because Michael and Freddie did not get along.
What?
Yeah. And if you look at history, as much as I adore Freddie Mercury, most stories come back to so-and-so and Freddie didn't get along. So
I would have thought that Mick and Freddie didn't get along.
I don't think that they were all that friendly. But Mick was real friendly with Bowie, who very famously didn't get along with Freddie. So again, there's one name that gets thrown around who is usually the issue in those discussions, and it's not everyone but Freddie. Then moving past that, July 9th, The Time bring us Ice Cream Castle, which is pivotal in R&B. It's more or less a Prince album with with Morris Day singing on it. But again, now you want to talk about the roots of R&B exploding. Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis.
The
Minneapolis sound that Prince founded, they would go on to make, like just last night I listened to to Janet Jackson, Rhythm Nation. That's Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis with Janet Jackson guesting on her own record, you know. But that starts there. Continuing with the diversity, Sade puts out her debut record next, July 16th, which is one of the best voices. I think Sade, her vocal is up there, should be in the discussion with Adele, Amy, maybe not like a Mariah or Whitney, because she doesn't have like a monstrous vocal range, but it's unique. Smooth Operator, you know, that was on repeat on every radio station. I refuse to. Thank you. Next up, again, this speaks so much to the diversity. July 21st, Stryper puts out their debut record, which is not only a hard rock record, but a Christian hard rock record.
That's the one that I couldn't think of.
That is the one you couldn't think of. You are remembering so much right now.
I'm taking my ginkgo biloba.
You're having so many moments of clarity that I don't even know. Did you quit drinking this week?
It's early. I haven't started for the day.
That's right. July 27th is an enormous day for metal. You have Pantera puts out Projects in the Jungle, which most people wouldn't even know of Pantera till I'd say 90.
Yeah, for sure.
Cowboys from Hell and whatnot. So you have Pantera. And then a little known band from San Francisco puts out their second record, Metallica, dropped Ride the Lightning, which Metallica did not blow up into the mainstream until the Black Album. But that second record, For Whom the Bell Tolls, Fade to Black, you know, those are staples that anybody who now considers themselves a Metallica fan knows those songs.
I was actually thinking of them when I asked you about the whole Anthrax thing and why you only ever heard the one guy talk about them. Because all of Metallica loves to talk about how great Metallica is.
You ain't
so I was just curious as to why.
Even Rob Taggio. Rob Taggio's been there for like 3 seconds, and he's like, "Aren't we great?" Well, they are. Kind of like Newstead back, but you know. But yeah, all of Metallica. I don't know. Kurt's kind of cool about it.
Yeah.
Kurt,
so he's usually the last one. To
he would rather talk to you about horror movies.
yeah. But for whatever reason, they love to talk about themselves.
July 24th. This is a weird deal here. Like a couple of days before those metal records, Careless Whisper was released as a single under the name George Michael, but it appears on the Wham album. That was released this year. It's a very weird thing. So many people consider that the start of George Michael's career, but it's on a Wham album. But if you get the Wham album, Make It Big, Careless Whisper is on the record. If you get the 7-inch, it says George Michael. Like, it's very strange. It's not credited to Wham. But if you've ever listened to that song, I would argue those are some of the deepest, most meaningful breakup lyrics in any breakup song. And George Michael wrote that song when he was 16 years old.
Well, that's when you're in the throes of like romance.
Yeah, but you write garbage poetry at 16 years old about being in the throes.
But my live journal was sweet.
Well, you know what? We should start another show where you just read your old live journal entries.
I want to go delete it, but I'm scared to find it.
Yeah. That's homework for our listeners. If you can go find Michelle's.
Don't do it.
I want badly to give out your username because I know it.
Do you?
Oh, yeah. It's your email. It's your old email.
Is it?
I don't know if that's still your current email, which I can just give that out if you want.
That's your throwaway email.
That is my throwaway email that I get made fun of at work for.
Yep, and that is what your name is under.
Do you go back and read my live journals?
I remember because when we were first friends, I don't even know if you add each other on live journal or whatever. I can't remember.
Do you text people your URL?
I remember seeing yours and just being like, Jesus. I saw your name. So I will be nice and not give out your name. Now, this next release for the year, again, I would be hard to argue that this band did not go on to enormous heights and actually just released new material a couple of weeks back. Now, I know this is detrimental to your world, Michelle, but on August 10th, 1984, the Red Hot Chili Peppers released their debut record. And again, I can't stress enough.
So if I have to go back in time,
it would be August 9th. You're looking to do some hijacking of trucks on August 9th.
Okay. 1984, I got it.
Yeah. Don't go back to World War II or anything. Go right back to August 9th, 1984. And I've told you this before, Michelle. I'm never trying to convince you to be a Chili Peppers fan, but the band that they were before Blood Sugar Sex Magik is an entirely different band. If you were to hear this record outside of, I think Anthony Kiedis has a pretty distinctive voice.
Yeah.
Outside of his voice, I don't think you would even place
Well,
it.
they ruined it.
They ruined what?
It doesn't matter what they did. They ruined it.
Oh, their chance with you?
Yes.
Oh, wow. Okay.
I will say,
do they know?
I don't know.
I've yet to find another artist or band where if any single song that they've ever made comes on the radio, she immediately turns it. No matter what.
I get mad if I've warmed my car up and I get in my car and it's playing because my car had to listen to it.
You're upset on behalf of your vehicle.
Yes.
Yeah, they haven't done a lot that I've liked after Blood Sugar Sex Magic, but before that they were an entirely different thing. But what we're talking about, like overall influence and presence, this band has been enormous. They will go down as one of the most popular bands of all time, and it all goes back. Jesus. It all goes back to their debut record being released there. 1 week later, Wasp put out their self-titled debut. I have never been a Wasp fan at all, but they were part of the Filthy 15, that's for sure, because of that debut record. So they took the ball from Prince and ran it down the field another 30, 40 yards. August 27th, Depeche Mode puts out their fourth record, which again, for me, this is like I referenced In Excess in the first half, where the record Some Great Reward is Depeche Mode's fourth record, and you would never say, oh, that's the one. People always think of Violator or Songs of Faith and Devotion, but this is the album that started to break them outside of their own home country and got more people to...
Where are they from?
The UK.
Okay.
And got them to the point where they could start being good enough to write Violator, and then explode the way that they did from there on.
They seem like they'd be from Germany.
Depeche Mode?
Yeah.
Okay. I don't really have anything to follow that up with.
Noted.
September 3rd, Iron Maiden puts out Power Slave, which is their fifth record. Again, in this one, maybe this is why I said the second half of the year. I'm sure there's other people that are like, Jesus Christ, what an awesome part of the year. But Iron Maiden's not my thing. I have a friend who's seen them over 100 times on like 6 continents, so it's very much his thing.
They're still doing it?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Like, and from what I understand, they're like the best bang for your buck in concerts. Like, people love Iron Maiden concerts. I don't like their music, so unless they were playing other people's songs, it wouldn't be fun for me. Another big debut in hard rock in a band, maybe not a huge band, but would go on to be quite a big deal for a while. September 7th, Queensryche put out their first record, The Warning, which led to, in 1987, when they put out their second record, Operation Mindcrime, and I went to my first concert, Def Leppard.
I already forgot. You should have just asked me again.
Yeah. I called the Palace of Auburn Hills that day and I said, who's opening for Def Leppard tonight? And they said, Queensryche. And I said, do you mean Queen? And they said, no, Queensryche. And I was like, interesting.
You thought Queen was opening for Def Leppard.
I don't know, man. At that time, as far as I knew, Queen had already only done I Want to Break Free and Another One Bites the Dust. And I thought the Lions wrote that. So
the whole team is in the locker room writing lyrics.
Yes, that's what I thought.
Okay.
I mean, the Chicago Bears wrote the Super Bowl Shuffle. So September 14th, we make a major stop in pop culture history. And the September 14th is when, live from the Radio City Music Hall, the very first MTV Video Music Awards happen. If you would like to see what drugs look like.
Oh my God. Yeah, I remember you showed me that video.
You've seen that video?
Yeah, you showed me the video.
Go on YouTube and type in 84 VMAs, and I'm sure it'll like autofill backstage. If you want to see what drugs look like, and by drugs I mean all of them.
Yes.
Watch that
mixed
footage.
Together.
Everyone has just finished sweat class where they learn to sweat more. No one is completing near a sentence. Like, everybody's like, yeah, so, and it's also insane to watch the Star Parade. Like, in any given frame of film, you're just like, look at everybody in that room. So I looked up some of the winners, just some of the more important categories I thought that we could discuss. The best male video was David Bowie for China Girl, which is a song I always forget about, but it was a major, major, major hit when it came out.
I don't know.
Of course you don't. Best female video, this is shooting fish in a barrel. Cyndi Lauper, Girls Just Want to Have Fun.
Yeah.
Like 1984, like she's going to win that for that.
That's a cover.
Yeah. Oh, look at you remembering so much stuff. It's like, did you accidentally listen to our show and learn a bunch of stuff again?
I put it on when I sleep, so I learn it through osmosis or whatever it's called.
Best group video, ZZ Top Legs, which that's a whole thing unto itself. ZZ Top, totally different sound.
Yeah.
Did that record come out this year?
What, Eliminator?
Yeah.
No, it was from the year prior.
Oh.
It was one of the many records that had no chance of being number one due to Michael Jackson's iron grip on the number one spot.
It came that Legs was on the 84 playlist I was listening to, and I was like, "This is a jam." And then I kept waiting for you, for you to bring it up, but that's because it did not come out in 84.
Legs may have been released as a single in 84.
Okay.
Sharp Dressed Man and Give Me All Your Lovin' were singles off of that as well.
Okay.
So maybe those were the lead singles and then Legs. But I remember Legs being massive.
Yeah.
Massive. And yes, Sharp Dressed Man was a thing before the drummer guy. That was a viral video that went on to be in The Office. Our listeners know what I'm talking about. So this will be a thing where 3 weeks from now, you're going to be like that drummer. I remembered. You've seen the YouTube video of the drummer.
What are we talking about?
Oh, boy. She's...
Sharp Dressed Man, drummer. I promise it's a thing. The wedding drummer. I will show you the video. Why are you doing the Kevin from Home Alone face right now?
You act like I'm supposed. Sometimes I'm like on the edge of knowing what you're talking about.
You're a huge Office fan, and I know I've shown you this video. I will show it to you after we're recording the show. Best new artist at the VMAs that year, and holy cow, you talk about influential and went on to be a big deal. The Eurythmics. So you have Dave Stewart and Annie Lennox.
Oh, yeah.
Just taking home the new artist. And then in the first half of 1984, I talked about how massive this one record was and how massive this one single was. The video of the year was You Might Think by the Cars, which, if you watch now, looks disgustingly out of date. It was probably done with a video toaster on an Amiga, But at the time, the visuals were
and this
astounding.
This is also a time when this type of award show mattered as well, just like the Grammys did, because for once, all of their hard work for producing visuals for these huge songs were being recognized.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And it was a huge deal, unlike now.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. October 1st, Shaka Khan puts out I Feel For You, which is... Shaka Khan came to the dance as part of the group Rufus, but this was really her big solo exposure to the world. And you have I Feel For You, written by Prince, who knows his way around writing a song, and then an uncredited Stevie Wonder playing the harmony on it. So a lot of people came to bat for Shaka Khan to make that. And I'm not saying that's why. I'm saying it's good. It was what amazing friends to have.
Yeah, for sure.
Prince to hand you a song and Stevie to be like, let me get at that real quick. U2 drops The Unforgettable Fire on October 1st, which is a massive record for U2. Later, they would follow that up with the Joshua Tree. And
Do they have one in 91 too?
Octung Baby, yeah.
Is that the only artist that has them in both years?
I think so. Look at you. I think so. I would have to check, but I think so.
I should go. I think
Is this peak Michelle?
This is it for me. I've used all my brain power, and it's only like 1 o'clock.
You guys have other stuff to do today too. I feel bad. I feel bad for you, Kyle, when she's not going to be able to spell later. October 15th. Now, this is not a huge release, but Talking Heads dropped Stop Making Sense, which is one of my favorite live albums of all time. It's one of my favorite, the audio quality. It's one of my favorite sounding live albums of all time. And a lot of you could almost look at it as a hits package too, because it's a live record,
But it's not hits?
I mean, it's got it's got a lot of their hits on it. It's got a massive version of Burning Down the House on it. Holy cow. And Once in a Lifetime, and She Was, all that stuff's on there. So you could kind of look at it as a hits package. Now, October 23rd is when Wham! Make It Big comes out, which features apparently a solo song by George Michael.
Yeah, that's so weird.
Careless Whisper.
Weird.
And that record blew up off of Wake Me Up Before You Go Go, which is a great song. And again, George Michael would go on to be just enormous on his own. But with Wham! Dropping Make It Big. The next one, October 25th, Culture Club dropped their third and arguably
You dropped it though.
Did I? Culture Club dropped their third and arguably worst album by a country mile, Waking Up with the House on Fire. This is the sound of a band who was given far too much money and access to drugs and tried to just kick out a record with.
If somebody wants to try that with us, just give us far too much money and a whole bunch of drugs and see what happens. I would be down to rival that.
Sponsorship deals are open. Very quickly, to give you an idea of how far Culture Club had broken down in the process, Boy George gave a very famous interview saying that all of the vocals for the record Waking Up with the House on Fire were recorded with him underneath the studio console. Because he was so out of his mind on coke that he was that paranoid that he had to be in this little bitty concealed area.
So it started off strong.
Yeah. And they wouldn't put out another studio record until 1997. So
Weird.
This is worth mentioning to me, at least, and it speaks to more of the diversity. October 25th, The Judds, Why Not Me comes out, which is the debut record from The Judds. They're a country, Michelle.
Yep, Winona.
Yeah. November 5th, Bryan Adams drops Reckless, which has Run to You and Summer of 69, which I'm assuming more than a few people have heard.
Yeah.
November 12th, Madonna drops her second record, Like a Virgin. And holy crap. She was like, hey, watch this. I'm just going to
That was like the precursor to breaking the internet.
More or less. Everybody was just stunned by that record. And I mean, it's Nile Rodgers produced it. It's brilliant music. It's one of those instances where the hype train meets the art. Where art and commerce actually had a stop on an intersection that worked. That's one of those instances. November 19th, notice a lot of people getting in at the Grammy deadline here. They're all like, well, Michael hasn't put something out, so let's try. November 19th, Don Henley drops Building the Perfect Beast, which was his second solo record after he left the Eagles. And I don't want to reduce the record to one song, but that brought us Boys of Summer. So, Don had already had big success within the Eagles, obviously, and success on his first record outside the Eagles. But then Boys of Summer is like that's just a part of pop culture.
Yes.
Everyone knows.
I know another band that covered it. That's pretty great.
The Ataris cover, you mean?
Yeah, that might be my username.
You can out yourself all you want to. The only other thing I want to touch on with pop culture, and it's funny because you mentioned this either in this episode or you might have said it in the last one. The year was rounded out on a down note on December 31st of 1984 was when Rick Allen had his car accident and lost his arm, which would cause, we talked a lot about how rapid fire these artists put out albums at the time and how you had to stay in the mainstream to keep everyone's attention because so much genius was coming out. This caused Def Leppard to not be able to put out a record till 1987. To their credit, because they could have just got anyone to replace Rick Allen and moved on. But they waited and said, we're going to let this guy recover mentally and physically and learn to drum with one arm and then have him play on what would go on to be their biggest record, Hysteria. So that's how the year ended in pop culture. But I do have some stuff pulled as far as the top singles of the year and the top selling albums of the year. The top singles for the year, and again, now this is what's going to come to you, Kyle, where like you were talking about the staying power of things and how, things were so massive that they just kept being consumed. Many of these singles are songs that were huge from records that were released a year or two prior. And they're still enormous and topping out the whole year of singles. Number 10 single for 1984 was Karma Chameleon by Culture Club, which again, they had just released Waking Up with the House on Fire. Karma Chameleon is still in the top 10 selling singles of all time. And Color by Numbers, the record with that, came out a year and a half before that. So that single was still selling so massively. Ray Parker Jr. with Ghostbusters, number 9. I always think there's a Key and Peele skit about Ray Parker Jr. singing other theme songs. Number 8, yes, Owner of a Lonely Heart.
Jam.
Yeah, you damn right. Number 7, a man who must have been wildly frustrated with Michael Jackson in 1983 because he did not get a number 1 for his album Can't Slow Down. Lionel Richie, Hello, is the number 7 selling single for 1984. And Lionel taking the If You Can't Beat Him, Join Him stance, like friendly with Michael, worked with him a lot, famously did We Are the World together. Instead of, like, to your point, Kyle, like now that would just be a huge rift and a beef, And Lionel was like, well, I'm just going to attach my train to the Michael Jackson train. Number 6 for the year in top selling singles, Van Halen, Jump. Number 5, Phil Collins with Against All Odds, which is one of my favorite ballads of the 80s, but was attached to like a soundtrack. The soundtrack didn't sell too well, but that song was massive. Number 4, an album that did sell massively, but the single did amazing as well, Kenny Loggins with Footloose. Number 3, boy, this guy was busy in the 80s, Michael Jackson, but with Paul McCartney, and not The Girl Is Mine. Say. Which I love way more than The Girl Is Mine, and I wish was on Thriller, not on Paul McCartney's record.
I think you might have mentioned that before.
I have mentioned it to many people. Number 2 of the year, and we talked about how massive and cultural this was, Tina Turner with What's Love Got to Do With It. It's hard to overstate how massive that song was at the time. And number 1 selling single for all of 1984, the little guy from Minneapolis with no bass on the track because he had an argument with the bass player, When Doves Cry, Prince and the Revolution. So you have this album that's the number 1 album, the soundtrack of the year. The film is number 1 at the box office. And then on top of that, enough people bought the lead single off the record to make it the number 1 selling single.
So you say Prince had a good year?
I would say Prince had a great 1984. That's for sure. And then in April of 85, he turned right around and put out Around the World in a Day. And Warner Brothers was like, stop doing that. Here are the top selling records of 1984. Now, here you're even going to see even more of that. Like, really? Like, wow, that sold that much? In the number 10 spot for 1984 top selling records is an album that came out in November of 1982. Michael Jackson, Thriller. A year and a half later, this record is still selling enough to be the top selling record
That's
of
impressive.
that year. Number 9, Tina Turner, Private Dancer. Number 8, Wham, Make It Big. Number 7, Footloose soundtrack. Number 6, 1984 by Van Halen, which should give you an idea if you're looking at those names that we've already talked about. That's how big Van Halen went from being a thing some rock fans know about to everybody and their mother knowing who they are. Jump alone, people like soccer moms at the time were buying in 1984 for Jump. You know. Now here's one that's interesting because this is definitely from the year before, but it had such staying power. For this to be this high on the list gives you an idea of how big it was. Number 5 is Huey Lewis and the News Sports. So you have Heart and Soul, I Want a New Drug, all those huge, massive hits, but the record is still selling so much over a year later that it's in the top 5 of the year. Number 4, Madonna Like a Virgin. Again, where
Number 4, really?
That intersection of art and commerce.
Oh, but she released it in November.
Came out in November, and that record moved so many units that it passed up all of this other stuff, which is crazy.
That's impressive.
Number 3 for the year. Now, this, I feel like sometimes, well, I mean, the numbers are the numbers. We kind of don't count greatest hits and live albums and like when we rank things. But Bob Marley Legend was number 3 for the year. And I would make an argument for that based off of until Bob Marley passed away in the early 80s, he was not the cultural icon that he would go on to be when he passed away. And many of his records were not widely available outside of Jamaica or like the Florida region across. They were not widely available across the U.S. and something most people listen to. Whereas Legend has any of your college friends who told you they like Bob Marley, they mean they own Legend. You know what I mean? Like that's what they mean is they own Legend. So every song that most people know from Bob Marley is in this one spot. So I would argue that it's in many ways it is a Bob Marley record because it's where most people cut their teeth on Bob Marley. Number 2 for the year, top selling albums is Prince and the Revolution, Purple Rain, which is insane that 6 months later, everything else that happened in the movie and all the overexposure and all that stuff, Prince was still like, yep, and I'm still going to sell the hell out of this record. And I'm pretty sure that Tipper Gore should get a credit for that selling. Number 1 top selling record of 1984, Kyle's best friend, Bruce Springsteen. Born in the USA. And again, there's 2 things. One, again, we already went over that, like, you respect him. It's just not your music. The quality of songwriting on that record, things like Glory Days, My Hometown, songs that just connected with everybody, especially given the social climate at the time with what was happening with like the auto industry and the Japanese takeover in the US and whatnot. Songs like Glory Days and My Hometown just connected with people on a level that many, many songs didn't or hadn't yet at that time. But then you also have, whereas Tipper Gore, I think, gets a little bit of credit for Purple Rain selling so much, Ronald Reagan screwing up. Helps a great deal too, because there now you have a song where, like, Born in the USA, when the record was put out, when the song was put out, Bruce Springsteen did no press tours going, look at me, I'm standing up for veterans, or you really need to listen to these lyrics. Like, it was just put out like, this is my message and I'm not going to make a big deal out of it, you know. And it really wasn't until Ronald Reagan completely misunderstood that people started to talk about it and say to other people, did you know that he's not proud to be born in the USA? Like, and he's not even saying I'm ashamed to have been born in the USA. He's just like, there's some things to think about here. Like, you know, like, it's more of a literal statement of fact. Like, I was born in the USA and it comes with all of this, you know? So I have no doubt that exposure helped that as well.
And much like other things happening back then, is this is actually when record sales mattered, because people were physically going and buying these things. That's a huge...
Well, I'm sorry to interrupt you. Will you please explain that concept to the show?
I have a gift card. Maybe I'll go check out a record store.
You should. So what you're saying, Kyle, is that, no, in very serious... Oh, so you take a kid like me. I'm hanging out in the store with my parents anyway, so I'm going to go to the music section, right? Yeah. So, like, I might buy some... But what you're talking about is, like, again, not in a derogatory way, but the soccer mom hears Glory Days on the radio and purposely goes to Kmart to buy this record.
And it's not like today when they just, some random person made up how many streams would make up for an album sale. Like the whole thing is just made up. This was actually a physical item being sold, and that's what counted towards it, rising up the charts.
Yeah. And a lot of record sales back then, because this is still pre-SoundScan days. You have to remember, it wasn't until 1990, where every time a UPC code got scanned, that's how they counted album sales. Yeah. Much of album sales back then were done on the honor system.
I'm sorry, what?
Record stores, independent record stores all over the U.S. would just report back to the labels what they were selling every week.
Huh.
This week we sold 100. So
maybe Michael Jackson wasn't that big of a deal.
it was just a lot of people telling other people that they bought Thriller. But it's interesting you say Michael Jackson, because that is why to this day there's a huge debate over whether the largest selling record of all time is Thriller or the Eagles' Greatest Hits, because Eagles' Greatest Hits came out in 78 or something like that. Thriller came out in 82, and almost all of it was done on the honor system. So if some record store owner just really liked Michael Jackson, they might fudge the numbers. If some record store owner really liked the Eagles, they might fudge the numbers. And until SoundScan happened in 90, we don't know physically how many copies of each record were sold for real. Okay. Now that you also say, well, if a record store is ordering more of Thriller, they're probably selling more of Thriller, and conversely the Eagles or whatever. Right. So a lot of what they've tried to do is go back and look at that, like physically how many were shipped. Right. Because you can only I don't care if you're just trying to make Thriller look good, there's only so much of your floor space you can devote to, copies of Thriller sitting around. So we didn't really even know a lot of that back then either. So much back then was so organic and just what other people were talking about. Yeah. And I always famously say that this is very, very, very true. My grandmother, who was, how do I put this nicely, very Southern, had a poster of Michael Jackson on her living room wall.
Oh.
That's how big this guy was. Yeah. And when you look at that stuff, it's just like you can't even, and the fact that the record was number one for 37 weeks in a row or something like that, that's insane.
That is insane.
For me, I think we accomplished what we set out to. I think we discussed 1984 as a whole. Michelle remembered so much.
I did.
You have really set me up for disappointment next week.
Yeah, I'm just going to come here and just sloshed out of my mind.
That way you can just blame it on being drunk.
Yeah.
That works. I think we covered everything. We covered a good amount. I think the only things I didn't have on my notes, because I couldn't find dates for like Houdini. Yeah. You got to mention those. I think we had a good discussion about, I think it matters more.
Yeah, the exact dates aren't what's important. The fact that that's when everyone started paying attention to a whole new thing. And the roller coaster ride started.
Yeah. I always tell people the next year, because I would have been in fourth grade this year, the next year in fifth grade, a kid moved into our neighborhood and brought Raising Hell with him. Yeah, and it changed my whole damn world, And I was like, you can do that with music? Yeah. Let's look into more of that. And it turns out the whole world did look into more of that. Yeah. So we greatly appreciate everybody who listens to this type of stuff. And I love that this was brought to us by people asking, like people liked our discussion of 91 so much that they were like, do it again
and do it 2 times in a row.
Yeah. Well, these years are so massive.
Yeah.
There's a couple other years I think could warrant 2 parts, but like not many.
Like 2004.
Yeah. Whichever year Creed's first album came out, obviously, which I think is 97. But anyways, so for us, this is great. As I said at the top of the episode, one more thing to remember is that we are recording these episodes in a very, very short period of time. So if you had feedback from the first half of 1984, you will hear it after this episode debuts. And if you have feedback from this one, go ahead and throw it at us as well. I feel like the next feedback section is going to be like an hour long because this is
only feedback.
Because this is such a great topic, and we're going to have 2 full episodes of feedback to get at. Like we always say about this time, without music, life would be a mistake. Bye.
Bye. The Infectious Groove podcast is hosted by Russ Robinson, Kyle Wimple, and Michelle Kosalecki. Produced and edited by Russ Robinson. Intro and outro music composed by Chris Kimmel. Opening credits read by Stacey Robinson. Recorded with a Rode Podcaster Pro and Rode Pod mics.